What is up, you beautiful people? I hope you spent all day watching training camp clips like I did. Yes, I may or may not have wasted the entire day just watching the George Pickens Most video. But regardless, we are going to go ahead. We are going to hop in a fantasy football draft like we do every single night. And we are going to be getting in the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet. We are going to be getting into Best Ball Mania. This is the $25 buy-in. $15 million prize pool from Underdog Fantasy. $3 million for first place, $1 million for second place, some crazy regular season prizes as well. So I don't want to waste your time. Let's get in this draft. And I'm going to assume, ladies and gentlemen, that we are at pick 1 because that's how this works, all right? I try my best. I brush my hair for this live stream to manifest pick. Okay, well, we're pretty damn close. We are at 3. We're going to get one of these wide receivers. I will not take Christian McCaffrey here, but I know some people like to. Not going to fault them whatsoever for deciding to go CMC. I'm just going to be looking at a wide receiver. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming out and hanging out with us in this live stream. As always, really, really do appreciate y'all. And we have, I believe, Kite in here at pick 4. That's JVR Van Gundy. We have David in here at 7. We have FF Addict in here at pick 11. We got Crypto Now or Never in here at pick 1. We got Demonic in here at pick 5. So we have a bunch of people out here drafting with us. Thank you so much for everybody hanging out. And we got Neil in here at 6. Let's go. Let's go. Dylan in here at 9. This is gonna be a fun draft, ladies and gentlemen. Fun draft. Now, Chase goes 1. Oh, is there... Imagine if we got Jefferson. If we would have got Justin Jefferson at pick 3, my life would have been made. We're going to go ahead. We will take Tyreek Hill. I understand we're reaching on Tyreek. Tyreek as an ADP behind Cooper Kupp. Well, Tyreek was pretty much consensus 103 until you had the boat incident. And the boat incident is resolved. You no longer have to be worried about Tyreek Hill. So I'm going to move Tyreek Hill right back to pick 3. Now, full transparency, sometimes you'll probably see me taking Cooper Kupp over Tyreek Hill, but that's just because if I'm going to draft 400 of these teams, we have to be a little bit balanced, right? So sometimes we'll go Tyreek, sometimes we'll go Kupp. This time we are going to go with Mr. Hill. And of course, if y'all are just now coming in here and somehow you don't know what's going on, we do this every single night. These are drafts on Underdog Fantasy. These are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during this season. That's why you're not going to replace your main fantasy football league with this. Instead, you're just going to use this, have some fun on the side, and prepare for your fantasy football league in 2023. I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 last season on Underdog. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. This is also the site that has all the player props that you're used to seeing in the videos. My favorite props right now are Jamar Chase plus 25 receiving yards versus Devontae Adams, and Nick Chubb plus half a rushing touchdown versus Josh Jacobs. You can find the link in the live chat description or comment section. And this is where Underdog is available, ladies and gentlemen. Available in pretty much every state, everywhere in Canada as well, outside of Ontario. But let's get this going. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown off 14. So that team at 12 decides to have a pretty unique build here, going Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley. Personally, not something that I would do, but I completely understand the thought process. I think you have a unique build that nobody else in this tournament will have, and I don't think you're sacrificing too much upside to do so. So I think it's fine. Now, Finn coming out of the donation, thank you, my friend, says, at number 2 in my ESPN league, wild to see Chase to fall to an ADP at pick 5 in ESPN drafts. I would be a fool to not take Chase at the 2 slot right. It's going to be dependent on your league format. If you are going to start 2 wide receivers and have 2 or more flex spots, then yes, I would agree that you have to take Jamar Chase at pick 2 in a full PPR format, or if you start 3 wide receivers and have 1 or more flexes. However, if you're only going to start 2 wide receivers and only have 1 flex, In a shallow format like that, inherently wide receivers are going to be a little devalued, where at that point, if you wanted to pivot to CMC, if you wanted to pivot to Travis Kelce, you could, just because of the format. But you really have to understand your format there when we're making that decision. But Riley coming out says, I'm about to take Anthony Richardson at the 106 in my dynasty draft. Also got Johnson at the 105, and we have the 108, which we might trade for a future first. Well, congrats, my man, on getting Johnston as well as Anthony Richardson. Personally, if you had the chance to go Addison, I probably do, but that's just me, my friend. Now we get Mahomes off the board there. You have David going with Kelce, Mahomes, super common start, right? And then you have Devontae Adams making it all the way down to 17. Very rarely you're going to see Chris Olave go as early as he did. Chris Olave going pick 15 in this draft here. Let's move this back around, and Jonathan Taylor officially has an ADP behind Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard goes pick 20. Okay, Raleigh says Addison went 104. Yeah, if Addison went 104, just go get your guy then. Okay, let's see what this team does. They are in the live stream. They took Cooper Kupp at pick 4. What are they doing here? They go Derrick Henry. With Henry coming out saying that he saw Jonathan Taylor go at the 306 in one of his underdog drafts today, I am not going to have a chance to see Jonathan Taylor really ever fall to the 3rd round in my drafts, because I have an issue when I see Jonathan Taylor available to us at the end of the 2nd round. I'm going to draft Jonathan Taylor. So, yeah, I'm going to take Taylor at pick 22. 100% understand if you want to come out and make an argument, Mason, there's too much risk. Mason, there's too much uncertainty. You have to go somewhere else. You have to be safer and go Devonta Smith here at 22 for the time being. Personally, how I'm drafting these underdog teams right now, and I know that y'all are tired of hearing me say this, but it's how I won multiple tournaments last season. I draft for the highest ceiling possible. This is a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize. I believe Taylor has a higher ceiling than Smith. I believe Taylor has a higher ceiling than Ridley, regardless of if that may be through a trade to another team, regardless of if that may be Jonathan Taylor starting for the Indianapolis Colts this year. But yeah, we are going to take Taylor at pick 22, while I understand a lot of people that are a lot smarter than me would say not to. And then we actually get T. Higgins making it down to us to pick 27, which is something that you're really not used to. And yeah, I'm going to be excited to take T. Higgins here at 27. Now, if we want to get the Burrow stack, we will have to take Joe Burrow at pick 46, because that team that took Jamar Chase at pick 1 still does not have a quarterback here. So you'd assume that they would take Joe Burrow at 48 if they want that stack. But Devin coming out with a massive donation. Thank you, my man. Says, love the content. I got the 4th pick in my half PPR 12-team redraft league, where we're starting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and double flex spots. Do you think I should go for the Kelce Mahomes stack if possible, or go with a different strategy? I'm completely fine in this kind of format if you want to go for Kelce and Mahomes. Generally, I'd be more excited about it if you only had 1 flex spot in comparison to 2, because the tight end position as well as the quarterback position will make up a higher percentage of your starting lineup output overall. At the same time, wide receiver depth wouldn't be as important if you only had 1 flex spot. So it's not as appealing to go Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. But if you think that you have a serious leg up on your league mates, if you do more research than them, if you're more confident in your ability to find middle round values, can't hurt to start off with Kelce Mahomes in the first 2 rounds. But Alex coming out of the donation says, hey, Mason, love the draft value of the Jaguars wide receivers and stacking Tyreek and Tua this year in redraft leagues. What are your thoughts? As always, tuning in from Manchester, UK. Thank you, my man, for coming and hanging out with us in this live stream. I'm sad that you're not able to get into underdog drafts with us in the United Kingdom. And I'd say, if you were in underdog drafts, Calvin Ridley going at pick 25, honestly, is a little bit rich for me. But if you're looking at those regular ESPN redraft leagues like you're talking about, I mean, there, Calvin Ridley is going as a 5th, 6th round selection. And at that price point, given the upside they have with Trevor Lawrence, I 100% agree with you with that kind of value. But yeah, that team that was sitting there at pick 6, probably not happy to see Josh Allen get sniped pick 29 when he had Stephon Diggs. Now, in terms of looking for some unique, interesting builds in this draft overall, I mean, there aren't too many teams that I want to sit here and say, oh yeah, they're phenomenal. They're great. I think that team at 9 that started Eckler, Garrett Wilson, Mark Andrews would have been in a phenomenal spot if if Lamar Jackson made it back around at pick 40. But one other thing I want to point out is now you have Jerry Jeudy going at pick 34 ahead of Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying you should take Jerry Jeudy ahead of Lamar Jackson, but in terms of the wide receiver rankings and drafts right now, with the injury to Tim Patrick, as well as the situation with KJ Hamler currently, I 100% agree that you need to be moving Jerry Jeudy above Keenan Allen. Hell, I had him above Keenan Allen before anything happened. And I think Jerry Jeudy belongs in the same tier as Amari Cooper, Deebo Samuel, and honestly, maybe even DK Metcalf. So, yeah, with Jeudy, I don't know if I'm taking really those wide receivers ahead of Lamar in general, but I mean, if you wanted to go wide receiver there, I definitely think that he's the best guy available at that point. Okay. Christian Watson, pick 40. Watson would have been my most exciting option on the board there at pick 40. Say it that way. I don't want to sit here and act like Christian Watson by any means is a guarantee, but would have been most excited about him there. Okay, Herbert goes 41. Interesting to see Justin Herbert go at that price point, considering the fact this is a team that doesn't have Eckler. This is a team that doesn't have Mike Williams. They don't have Keenan Allen, and they take Justin Herbert significantly ahead of ADP. I'm fine taking an unstacked Justin Herbert. I'm fine taking Herbert when I don't have one of those Los Angeles Chargers. But if I'm going to do so, I want to make sure it's after ADP in that type of situation. So don't know if I love Herbert at pick 41 specifically in that spot. Okay. Now let's move this around. Demonic Celery coming out, taking Terry McLaurin at 44. You have Joe Mixon going. So I'm actually going to take Jahmyr Gibbs here. I know we discussed the possibility of taking Joe Burrow to pair up Joe Burrow with T. Higgins. And maybe if we don't take Burrow here, you're going to see Caden take him at pick 1 to pair up with Jamar Chase. But regardless, I think if you're looking for that unique build, we get Jahmyr Gibbs 10 picks past ADP. Won't be too many teams that are able to get Gibbs at this price point. As a running back that goes inside the top 15 picks in the NFL draft, going to an offense that presumably is the top 3 offensive line in general. Phenomenal pass catcher, elite level athlete. Obviously doesn't have the size to be the same caliber prospect of like a Bijan Robinson, but still going to be completely fine taking him here at pick 46. Now, Caden goes Mike Williams. Does he take Burrow here to pair up with Chase? Yes, he does. So we're going to be getting Justin Fields at pick 51, presumably, because this team decided to take Jalen Hurts there at the 2-3 turn. Maybe we see them take Justin Fields if they were to do so. I'm going to actually pivot over and go TJ Hawkinson at pick 51, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. But Mike takes flight. Long time member of the flock says 10-team PPR keeper league. We have Jefferson, but got offered a first and second round pick post keeper for Jefferson in the 5th. I have picks 13, 18, 23, 28. No, I definitely keep Jefferson there. I don't necessarily think we have to think about it too much unless Justin Jefferson's like some insane keeper cost and you're going to be able to get similar caliber players. But the thing is, with those first, second round picks in a keeper league, right? They're just inherently less valuable when you don't have guys like Chase, you don't have Jefferson, you don't have CMC. Those options aren't in that draft. But yeah, Justin Fields off the board there at pick 50. Sad to see. Trust me, I would have preferred getting Justin Fields there 51 rather than TJ Hawkinson. I'm not going to hate on the team for doing that there. I mean, I think sometimes it makes sense if you take DJ Moore and Justin Fields at the 4-5 turn, even stacking them with the elite level quarterback. I don't necessarily think it's great, but I completely understand if you want to go ahead and mix it in. I mean, I've done it in a couple of drafts. But Alex coming out of the donation, thank you, says, I'm picking 9. Who do you think the best players are to target with 9 and 16? I was thinking Diggs, St. Brown, and Josh Allen for the stack. Any thought? I mean, if you're going to be starting, say, 3 wide receivers or more, if you have multiple flex spots in a full PPR format, I'm completely fine if you want to go Diggs, St. Brown, Josh Allen through the first 3 rounds. If not, if you're only going to be playing in a league where you can start at most 3 wide receivers, I probably instead would pivot over to like Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, pick 9, and then get the elite level wide receiver on the way back around. Now, Austin says, What do you think I should value most in a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league? Also, in that gym picture with Bijan, you make him look like a peasant. I mean, come on. Y'all know. I mean, we got to pull it up now. Y'all just know I'm freaking jacked. Come on. I mean, how many times I got to tell y'all? I'm an Olympic athlete, all right? The Olympics called this year and said, hey, Mason, you know what? The United States, we haven't been as dominant as we've liked to in the past. I know we're asking a lot from you, but what we're going to need is we're going to need you to participate on the basketball team. We're going to need you to go out there and do some Olympic weightlifting for us, and we're going to need you to run track. Of course, my response being, guys, come on. I have fantasy football teams to draft, okay? I have live streams to start, and if I don't do it, nobody is. But anyway, if you're playing in a league where you only start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex, in general, if you can only start 3 wide receivers, you do want to be moving up running back, tight ends, as well as quarterbacks, because wide receiver depth is going to be so easy to come by later on. If you get yourself an elite level tight end and elite quarterback, say going Kelsey, Mahomes in the first 2 rounds, it's like the perfect format to do so in. Okay. Now, Dobbins goes 62. Cam Akers off the board 63. So you have Chris Godwin going here 64. Addison, early pick for Addison. Yeah, so that team at 41. I'm sorry, that team at 8 that went Bijan, Devontae Adams through the first 2 rounds. They're willing to just go out there and get their guys, right? They reach on Herbert 41. They reach on Pierce 56. They reach on Addison 65. I love to see the conviction. I love to be in drafts with people that are willing to go out there and get their guys. So, yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad about that, of course. Now, let's move this over. So, we have Taylor Gibbs, running back, wide receiver, Tyreek Higgins, tight end, TJ Hawkinson. Okay. Now, let's see. Miles Sanders off the board, 66. Y'all know I've mixed in a lot of Miles Sanders around this point. Iron Griffin takes Trevor Lawrence at 67. This team only has 1 wide receiver in Terry McLaurin, so you assume that they go ahead and they take another one, which they do in Gabe Davis. George Kittle goes right before us, which is extremely frustrating. If we would have had George Kittle making it to us, I mean, my life would have been complete. That would have been great. But Squeaky Clean coming out says 7th pick in a 14-team PPR format. How do you feel about Hill, Andrews, Lamar, Judy, or Watson as a start? Love that, my friend, especially in a 14-team format. That's a no-brainer. I mean, generally, you're just going to be expecting a massive drop-off by the time you get to round 3, round 4, based on just those extra picks going in each round, especially if it's only a 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex league. I love that start, my friend. I would say in general, I'd maybe pivot to an elite running back round 1, given the fact that it is a 14-team format, but going Andrews, Lamar, rounds 2 and 3, and then grabbing Judy or Christian Watson round 4 is phenomenal. Okay. Yeah, so I would have loved having George Kittle make it to us at pick 70 and gone with the bully tight end strategy, pairing up TJ Hawkinson as well as George Kittle. Obviously not going to be able to do it in every single draft, but it is what it is. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 300 likes on this live stream. So if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like, help your boy out. I mean, we're streaming every single day. You can't find anybody else with this kind of dedication. Come on. Can't find an athlete like this anywhere. Now, Caden on the clock. Let's see. They go Dallas Goedert to snipe the team that had Justin Fields. You were assuming that they were going to be looking at Dallas Goedert on the way back around. Okay. Jeep guy telling us we may have to go ahead and take Darren Waller. I mean, we may have to take your guy, my man. We may have to take your guy. Montgomery goes. So we're going to actually not take Waller. We're going to go Michael Pittman here, like as a wide receiver 4. Yeah, if you're getting Michael Pittman as a guy outside the top 36 wide receivers in your fantasy draft, even if we called him last season during the draft process, one of the most overrated players in fantasy back when he was going round 3, love this price point with Michael Pittman. Love this price point with Mike Evans. I understand you have offensive concerns overall, but it is what it is. Now, Brandon says, with the third overall pick, are you taking CMC or Cup? In the second round, are we going to go Allen or Amari? Definitely not taking Amari Cooper in the second round, my man. I mean, in general, I think it's going to be dependent on your format. I hate to keep going back to that, but if you can start 4 or more wide receivers, I'm going to go Cup over CMC. If you can start only up to 3 wide receivers, there, I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey. And then in that second round, I'd way rather go with an elite level quarterback over Amari Cooper. I think that you should be pushing Amari Cooper down a little lower than that. Ross Cred says, what is Michael Pittman projected to get? Last I saw on the player props on Underdog, I think they took down the Colts. Yeah, they took down the Colts once you actually had the trade request coming in from Jonathan Taylor. They just took down all the Colts lines. That's what told me, like, okay, this is a serious situation if they're taking all those down. But yeah, I don't see any lines. No way. They put defensive players up? Put some sack lines up? What the hell? Who's out here looking at sack player props? I think they have Myles Garrett with the most sacks at 14. Yeah, they have Myles Garrett with the most sacks at 14 this next year. Nick Bosa the most at 15.5. Then Myles Garrett at 14. Micah Parsons at 13.5. I'm sorry to get sidetracked, ladies and gentlemen. I just haven't seen these before. And TJ Watt at 13.5 as well. Now, if I were to sit here and try to talk about sack projections for players this next season, I would just embarrass myself, ladies and gentlemen. I have to stay as far away from those as possible. Okay. Now, Elijah Moore, Cortland Sutton, 85. Yeah, so you have Cortland Sutton dramatically rising up boards here. That team that took Herbert ends up getting Quentin Johnston at pick 80. I think they should be pretty excited about that. Ross Cred says Bosa had 18.5 sacks last season. Yeah, I don't want to go down this sack rabbit hole, or I will truly embarrass myself if I haven't managed to already. Okay, let's move this around. We are up in 5 picks, ladies and gentlemen. 5 picks. Brandon Cooks goes 89, a little bit later than yours to sing Cooks. Zay Flowers goes 90. Tua's definitely in play for us. Keep in mind, we do have Tyreek Hill. Another thing is, if we want Tua, we can pass on him at pick 94 with the assumption that we get him on the way back around at pick 99. Because this team here already has Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, so they cannot draft another quarterback. This team has Joe Burrow, and they have no Miami Dolphins, so there'd be really no reason for them to take Tua. Julian says, love the floss stick. I'm a little addicted to these now. Now, Tua goes there 93. It is what it is. We're not going to sit here and cry about it. We're going to take James Cook. James Cook has been moving up these draft boards in general. I mean, we talked about it potentially being the report that you had with James Cook looking like a quote-unquote 3-down running back for this next season. That's what I thought it possibly was, but then someone reminded me in the comment section that, oh yeah, no, he mind's out for the year, so maybe we should move James Cook up a bit. Take him at 94. I mean, it's kind of whatever, right? I think he outscores the wide receivers in this range. Kadarius Toney goes 95. Y'all know what I've said. I've said I'll take Kadarius Toney past pick 100. Toney makes it to me 100 or beyond, I'll draft him. Caden taking this down goes Bateman at 96. Dylan 97. Assuming maybe they go Sky Moore to pair up with Toney. Let's see what happens here. They go Gibson. If we take Evan Ingram, we're done drafting tight ends. I honestly don't mind at all taking Evan Ingram at this price tag, considering the fact that we are going to need 3 quarterbacks in this draft. So if we're going to need 3 QBs in this draft, I definitely want to have to stop taking tight end here and only draft 2 of them. So yeah, we'll take Evan Ingram. I don't love it, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think it would have been much better if we could have had Tua with one of these selections, but it is what it is, right? So now wide receiver, we're sitting with Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman. Running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, James Cook. And tight end, we have TJ Hawkinson as well as Evan Ingram. I'm pretty damn excited about this. Pretty excited about this team. I mean, would have been better if we would have had Justin Fields making it to us at 51 rather than TJ Hawkinson, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, we just hit 400 likes in the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody just now coming in and dropping a like. And, of course, we are going to get in another draft after this, probably get in a few more drafts after this one. And if you want to draft with us or if you want to go check out any of those player props that we were looking at earlier, ladies and gentlemen, you can find that link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat description, comment section. Best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 last season. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, we'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. We're literally doing this every single day on the live stream. How many days have we gone in a row? We've got 95 days and not stop until 2024. Okay. Now we have Njoku goes 103. Michael says W promo, of course. I mean, guys, come on. Who does it better? Who does it better? That's what the Olympics really wanted me for. The Olympics reached out and said, "Hey guys, we need someone to read the ads." All right. We've seen your promos before. We know how you have them dialed in. Nobody does it like you. That's what they reached. They wanted me to do the McDonald's commercial in the Olympics. Use promo code FLOCK next time you order a Big Mac. Get extra sauce for free. Now we got David Njoku, Frymuth going 103, 105. You'll know these are also guys that I draft a crap ton. I think they each have access to a relatively high ceiling. But, I mean, once we go Hawkinson as well as Evan Ingram, we're hoping these guys get off the board, right? I mean, we can't draft them at this point. Henry says, in the last 2 years, I've drafted over 1,000 teams and won over. Yeah, that's what it'll be next season. Next season after I lose $10,000 this year. Be like, oh, yeah, over the past 2 seasons, here's what I've done. That's what we'll do. Okay. Now we have Cousins going. Geno Smith goes 108. That's a team that goes JSN, Tyler Lockett there at the turn. So it makes a lot of sense for them to decide to take Geno Smith. Okay. Let's move this over. Greg Dulcich goes 109, so great for us as well. Yeah, really going after a Denver Broncos bump for those secondary pieces with no Patrick, with no Hamler. Alan Lazard off 112. Nico Collins 113. Not going to lie to you, I'm not a big Nico Collins guy. Okay. David on the clock. He goes Tyler Boyd. Okay, this may be lining up nice. No, Anthony Richardson goes 115. If we had Anthony Richardson making it to us where we took Michael Pittman around 7, I would have been ecstatic, ladies and gentlemen. I would have been so damn excited about that. It is what it is. Of course, we can't sit here and cry about it, but I mean, if we had Anthony Richardson 118 for this kind of team, that would have been literally perfect. Juju goes 116, so you have a little bit of a run on wide receivers. Now, keep in mind, we already have Tyreek, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman, so it's not like we're sitting here just dying to grab a wide receiver at the end of the 10th, right? I mean, we're kind of fine as is. Okay, let's see what they do here. They went to sniped us in the last time. They go Samaje Perine. So I understand, yeah, very similar to Jonathan Taylor. Zach Charbonnet has a lot of uncertainty right now. He's out indefinitely with a shoulder injury. We have no idea what the hell is going on. And that's very scary. And there's a very real chance that Zach Charbonnet is a garbage pick here at 118. That Zach Charbonnet misses a decent amount of the season. That Zach Charbonnet doesn't come on until later on in the year. 100% I agree with you. There is a lot of inherent risk, and you are going to see Zach Charbonnet in a lot of drafts fall farther than this. However, y'all have heard me say it once, I'll say it again. This is a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize. What I am doing with every single one of these selections is considering upside, 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 and only upside. So for that reason, we will go ahead and we will take Zach Charbonnet. Now, I think we're actually going to take Zay Jones. Reason being, not a big Devon A-Chain guy, especially now that Taylor has these trade rumors. Not only do you have Dalvin, Zeke, Fournette, Hunt, I mean, all those guys' possibilities, but also maybe Jonathan Taylor now. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to take Zay Jones, 123, pair him up with Evan Ingram. And I guess maybe we make the bet, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, all those training camp videos about Calvin Ridley are a little deceiving. Maybe Calvin Ridley isn't that guy. Maybe he gets injured. I don't know. Maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars offense is just much better than people expect. But when in doubt, take a wide receiver. Let's go ahead and let's take Zay Jones. Okay, Rondale Moore off 126. Already knows where this is going. Knows what I'm setting up here. If you wait until every quarterback is drafted but Trey Lance, you may have no other option but to take Trey Lance. Neil says, there's no way you snipe me on both Evan Ingram and Zay Jones. Well, my man, you shouldn't have sniped me on Anthony Richardson. That's on you. That's on you, my man. All right. Now, Romeo Doubs off 129. Rodgers goes 130. So, I mean, at this point, not great for us to see a team going with 3 quarterbacks as early as round 11, right? I mean, when we're sitting here with 0 quarterbacks through the first 11 rounds, I would hope that a team that goes Cousins, Daniel Jones in rounds 9 and 10 is only going to draft 2 quarterbacks. And if they do decide to take a third, that guy being in round 17 or 18. So it is what it is, right? Steel City Blue says, getting a luxury suite ticket to Trey Lance show versus Pittsburgh week 1. Oh. I'm envious of you, my man. Please. Cheer for him loudly. Loudly. Teresa's saying Team 10 is a donation. Let's go ahead and let's check out Team 10. Team 10 goes Brown, Olave, Judy, Hopkins out the gate. Madison, Akers, Rashad White, Dalvin. Then Cousins, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers with no stacks. Yeah, I think Team 10 maybe is a little lost here. Maybe just maybe. Okay. Tyler Algier off the board, 137. You have Jacoby Myers falling a considerable amount. See what happens. There are a few different players that we are okay getting. We are not drafting any more tight ends when we have Evan Ingram as well as TJ Hawkinson, so we can't even look at that position. Iron Griffin on the clock. This is Neil in the live chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what he does. He goes, Van Jefferson, 139. Van Jefferson, the favorite of Bush Sports member of the flock. He actually on flockfantasy.com has made a pretty strong argument for Van Jefferson this season. Demonic Celery also in this live chat, hanging out in the stream. Goes Tyler Higbee, 140. Hell yes, we are going to get Jared Goff. I understand we don't have any wide receivers in Detroit, but we have Jahmyr Gibbs. The reason you're excited about Jahmyr Gibbs is his involvement as a receiver, his involvement as a pass catcher in this offense. So I think Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs do correlate nicely together. We so desperately need a quarterback. I think Goff here, 142, is fine value. Very excited about this. Neil says, I bless you with Goff. My man, you had Richardson and Lawrence. What the hell are we going to do taking Goff? Ryan says, Dynasty, Pittman and Spears for Kirk and Khalil Herbert. I would prefer Michael Pittman and Taj Spears. I think the running backs don't matter too much there. I'd rather just have Pittman over Kirk and Dynasty. Now, Bigsby off the board at 145. What's the report on Mingo? I don't see one. I guess Mingo actually should be in play for us here, even if I maybe prefer MVS a little bit more, strictly because we do need to be looking at quarterbacks that we can grab later on in this draft. And the potential stacks that we have are extremely limited, right? I mean, if we run through this team, essentially every guy that we've drafted, his quarterback's already off the board outside of Mike Evans. And yeah, so if we take Jonathan Mingo, we can set ourselves up with the ability to take Bryce Young a little later on, while at the same time not having to spend a ridiculous amount to reach for that, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's move this over. Kyler Murray off the board. Generally, we want to see quarterbacks making it back to us. Nate says, Goff will win you the $3 million easily. Okay, well, Nate, you look like you may or may not be a little bit biased with Jared Goff as your profile picture. But I'm going to pretend that there is no bias behind this statement whatsoever. I appreciate you. Scorp says, anyone remember when Jonathan Mingo was going in the 10th? I mean, yeah, y'all remember how overhyped Jonathan Mingo was earlier this offseason? I mean, it's funny to see. But to be fair, I was taking Wan'Dale Robinson when he was going in like the 15th, and now Wan'Dale Robinson is not being drafted at all. So who the hell am I to talk? Okay, Conjure Miller goes 153. Irv Smith Jr. off the board, 154. Alex says, I went to the same high school as Goff. Were you there with Jared Goff? Or was it like, I went to the same high school that Jared Goff went to 10 years later? Were you like at school with Jared Goff as your quarterback? That would have been awesome. Alexander a decade later. Oh, okay. Still pretty cool, but. Okay. Chart goes 145. I apologize, 157. Have no idea how you got 145 there. Okay, let's swing this back around. We can take one more quarterback here. We're going to be taking one more quarterback, two more quarterbacks, one more running back, and two more wide receivers. Singletary goes, and there was actually a tight end that went down in Detroit. Can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to pretend like I can. But he went down in Detroit earlier today, so Sam Laporta maybe is a little bit more appealing with this tight end depth chart than an out. Laporta goes. This is just such a gross point of the draft, right? Like, there's no right answer of what you should do. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones goes. That's kind of the guy that we were looking for. I don't want to take Jerome Ford. I'm not big on taking Kenneth Gainwell. There's no way I'm taking Mostert at this point. I may just have a massive reach on the guy I prefer in this range. We just may hashtag get your guy. We're going to go take Curtis Samuel, 166. Obviously not like a super strong value by any means. Obviously we were reaching on him a considerable amount and maybe could have got him in the 15th. But I don't know. Okay, Jaden Reed off the board, 168. John Mechie goes 169. I think we may reach again. I mean, at this point in the draft, does it even matter if we're reaching to get our guys? I don't necessarily think it does. We're going to go ahead. We're going to reach for Bryce Young. Pair up Bryce Young with Jonathan Mingo. Like, there's no reason to roll the dice and take Jerome Ford here to see if we get Bryce Young falling to us in the 16th round. Like, the opportunity cost to pass on Jerome Ford is pretty much nothing. So let's just take the guy that we want. And we are going to hop into another draft. So what I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to take one more quarterback, one more running back, one more wide receiver. I will let y'all know who that is as we draft them. But let's get in another Best Ball Mania draft here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll let you know who we take in the 16th, 17th, and 18th rounds. But it's just such a crapshoot that I don't necessarily think it's too important for y'all to see the board at that point. But Chris says, due to my dynasty startup, just went Bijan #1 overall. Oh, that is brutal, my man. Even if it's one quarterback, you still got to go with the wide receivers there. But I mean, Bijan definitely the running back one in dynasty. And hell, this may be a Bijan Robinson team for us. This is how we are going to cue this up, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see if Bijan Robinson makes it to us at pick 6. I feel like it's been a long time since we got the 108. I'm sorry, since we got the 101. But Alex in here at pick 8. Happy to see you, my man. Happy to see you. Steve says, Samuel sucked most weeks last year. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, every single guy that you were going to draft in rounds 15, 16, 17, 18 will suck most weeks this next season. The question is, can they be good in a couple of those weeks? That's the question. I think Curtis Samuel could have a couple decent weeks, and that's what we're looking for. Okay. Okay, Justin Jefferson off the board, pick 1. I got mixed up here a little bit. I was looking at my phone, looking at that draft, which we are in round 16 in, and Hunter Renfrow went off the board, but I just saw the picture of Renfrow going, and I was thinking it was this draft. For a second, I thought Hunter Renfrow went off the board at pick 2. I was about to lose my mind. Chase, Cup, Tyreek. So we're getting a running back here. The question is it CMC or Bijan Robinson? Let's see. It is going to be Bijan, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead. Let's log him in here at pick 6. Now, I have to say this every time we draft him. I am not telling you that you should draft Bijan Robinson at pick 6. I think there is a pretty flat tier of all these guys after the first 5. And if you wanted to go Kelsey, go Kelsey. Personally, I went to University of Texas. I interviewed him at the NFL draft. I ran into him at the gym a few weeks back. So I'm going to have fun this season. I'm going to take guys that I want to root for, and I am going to draft Bijan Robinson here at pick 6. Okay, in the other draft, I think we're going to go Shakir as our 8th wide receiver. Then we still need one more running back as well as one more quarterback. Now, Diggs, Kelsey, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, all off the board immediately after we take Bijan Robinson. Augustus says Bijan the GOAT if he gets Mason a lake house. If Bijan Robinson wins us, if he wins us Best Ball Mania this year and $3 million, and we are able to get a lake house, I'm telling you one thing, I will do everything in my power to get Bijan Robinson an invite. Now, of course, if he decides to show, by no means a guarantee. But he will have an invite, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Chubb goes pick 12. Yeah, Nick Chubb just continuing to rise. Like, Nick Chubb's not slowed down in the slightest. Devontae Adams goes 14. In that other draft, we're going to take Chuba Hubbard as our 5th running back. Maybe somehow, some way he correlates with Mingo and Bryce Young. Probably not. And then our QBs, we can take Sam Howell. We can take Trey Lance. We can take Baker Mayfield. Those are going to be the quarterbacks that we're looking at. Okay, Barkley goes 15. I would have been super excited to have Saquon Barkley make it back around to us. Steve says, scenario, Mason wins the $3 million and has Bijan over to his lake house for a flock. That's what we're going to do. We're going to spend $1 million buying the lake house. We'll have, after taxes, probably 500-ish left over. I'll probably spend out of that 500,000, 1,000 on bots to spam Bijan Robinson's DMs to get him that invite, to make sure he comes out, and we'll have a massive flock meetup. That's the plan. That's the plan. Okay. Now, of course, we're going to take Olave here, 19. I honestly am an idiot, so I kind of want to take Jonathan Taylor, but I know I'm going to get Taylor later. So if I'm going to get Taylor later, might as well go ahead and take Chris Olave instead while we can. And of course, real quick, if y'all want to get into one of these drafts with us, we're going to do another one if we hit 600 likes on this live stream. So please make sure you go down there, drop a like on this stream. But these are underdog drafts, so best ball, no time commitment at all during the season. This tournament here is Best Ball Mania. They have smaller tournaments with lower buy-ins, but this is the largest tournament that they have. It's a $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool, the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet. And if you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. It's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 last season. And this is also the same place where you have all these player props. My favorite player props right now are Nick Chubb plus half a rushing touchdown versus Josh Jacobs, and Jamar Chase plus 25 receiving yards versus Devontae Adams. Okay, but Taylor goes 25. And Tommy Nose says, did you see George Pickens' one-hander over Joey Porter today? It was glorious. Yes, I saw it, my man. And I did think of you whenever I saw it. And I actually recorded a video and talked about that. That will come out tomorrow morning. Okay, JT goes off the board 25. Trust me, I would have been ecstatic to have Jonathan Taylor at pick 30. If we got JT at 30, I would have been ecstatic. What's the news on Ramondre? Back in action, blah, blah, blah. Brandon says he was there for the Pickens catch. That is awesome, my man. That's awesome. Metcalf goes. So we're going to take Ramondre like I said, I haven't drafted a lot of Ramondre Stevenson in the late second or at the very beginning of the third round this year because I am slightly concerned about them bringing in Dalvin, Zeke, Hunt, Fournette, maybe even JT. I'm concerned about them bringing in another running back to split this backfield. But like I've said, there's a chance that Ramondre Stevenson absolutely crushes us. So we definitely need to mix him in a little bit where we can. And we'll take him here at pick 30 when he falls past ADP. We start Bijan, Chris Olave, so we have a lot of flexibility with what we can do with this team as well. So yeah, let's take him here. And Finn coming out of the donation, thank you, says, really appreciate the advice about my second pick. I'm in a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and tight end format. I still find myself wanting to take Chase there, although I shouldn't. Hammering the Chubb, half a touchdown. Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of crazy, especially if you consider the fact that you have the uncertainty with Josh Jacobs' contract situation right now, that you would get an extra half a rushing touchdown versus Jacobs. I mean, if you're looking at drafts, Chubb's going around 1, Jacobs going around 3 right now. But not going to fault you at all if you go Jamar Chase, my friend. It's more so what I find in a lot of these style leagues. If you're like really serious about fantasy football, which if you're watching a fantasy football live stream at the end of July, you are pretty damn serious about fantasy football. In general, you'd be able to crush the rest of your league mates in terms of finding wide receiver values in the middle rounds. So that's why I say it's okay to pivot away from that start in that style context. But we are going to go ahead and get ready for a 4th round wide receiver pick, I'm assuming. Now, maybe something wild happens. We'll see. We'll see. DNB says he only has 2% Ramondre Stevenson. Let me see how much Ramondre Stevenson I have. I think last we checked, I was at like 4% Ramondre. So I'm not completely fading him. Like I said, I'll take him when he falls past ADP. But yeah, I'm still at 4% Ramondre Stevenson, ladies and gentlemen. Cole McCoy says, hey, I signed up for Underdog, but never got the draft tiers, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you did. Just please go to your email. Check the spam. It's not going to come from myself. Underdog is going to send it to you. So please, if you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK and made a minimum of a $10 deposit, wait a couple hours, check your email. If you don't see it in your email, check your spam, and you should have an email from Underdog Fantasy that has everything there for you, my friend. Okay. Now, Andrew's off the board there, pick 38. Breece Hall goes 39. I probably would have taken Breece Hall if you would have made it to us, to be honest. Mixon off the board as well. Etienne goes. I would have drafted Travis Etienne if you would have made it to us. This team has Jacobs, Diggs, as well as Jalen Waddle. So it does seem like in a lot of these spots, they're just going to go ahead and they're going to take best player available. Yeah, which they do. They take Christian Watson, which I'm fine with, right? Because when we take Bijan Robinson round 1, we essentially make a bet that the Atlanta Falcons offense is going to be better than people expect this next season. So when we make that bet, might as well go ahead and double down on it by taking Drake London here at pick 43. Don't act like it's the best pick in the world. I probably would have preferred Etienne. I would have preferred Christian Watson, but I'm still fine with it. Okay. McLaurin goes 44. In terms of crazy things happening, not too much. I mean, very rarely you're going to see Mixon go before Etienne. Not something I'm doing too much in Best Ball Mania drafts because in a lot of like the April drafts, you actually had Joe Mixon going like down in the 7th round of these Underdog drafts. So I don't know if I'm willing to take him here pick 40, just given the fact that even if he is a league winner, you still may be getting crushed by the teams that got him in round 7 earlier in the offseason. So personally, I probably go Etienne over Mixon, but that's just me. Now, that team there at 46 takes DJ Moore. Now, what we saw in the draft previous to this was the team that took DJ Moore at the very end of the 4th round had already drafted Jalen Hurts. However, they decided to pair up DJ Moore with another elite quarterback in Justin Fields at the beginning of the 5th. So let's see if that team at 3 that decides to take Mahomes in round 2, if they decide to take Justin Fields at pick 51. Let's see. Aaron Jones, 49. Burrow goes 50. Yeah, so you have this team going with the bully quarterback strategy of Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, 26, and pick 50. Bold, bold. This is the team. Yeah, this is the team that goes ahead and they take Justin Fields, 51. So you have two teams in this draft deciding to go ahead and take the bully bully quarterback approach. Maybe that causes us to change our draft strategy here a bit. I don't know how much we should be reacting. I was thinking about possibly taking Justin Herbert. We don't even get that possibility. I've drafted just so much Kenneth Walker in this range. I'm gonna continue to take him. I'm sorry. We've talked about the range of outcomes with this before. We talked about this yesterday. So 100% there is inherent downside with taking Kenneth Walker with a questionable groin injury where we really don't have the specifics. We don't know when he's going to be back, et cetera, et cetera. But there's also inherent upside with making this selection because there's an outside chance that he's back within the week, that he's back next week, that he's back in 2 weeks, and the Zach Charbonnet injury is serious. So when there's uncertainty in these underdog drafts, similar to why we were drafting Alexander Mattison in round 9 earlier on, we're trying to take players that have wide ranges of outcomes. They could either move down draft boards considerably or move up draft boards considerably. Do I think Brandon Ayuk, by the time we get to September, could be moving much higher than where he's currently going in round 5? Probably not, if I'm going to be honest with you. However, if we get confirmation Kenneth Walker's good to go, and we get Zach Charbonnet out 2 months, out a month, whatever it may be, then at that point, I do think you see Kenneth Walker slide up to being an early 4th round pick. So yeah, we'll take Kenneth Walker at 54. We'll do it. Okay. Now, Mike Evans goes 59, which is interesting to see. We got Mike Evans at pick 70 in the last draft. And after we take Kenneth Walker, you have a massive run on wide receivers here with Ayuk through Deontay Johnson, going picks 55 through 60. Okay. Jack says, hey, I'm trying to verify on flockfantasy.com, and it keeps saying invalid verification code. I've tried it like 3 times. My man, please reach out to me if you're having this issue. And also, let me know, has anybody in this live chat signed up for flockfantasy.com over the past 24 hours? And if you tried and had an issue, please let me know, because if you're not able to confirm your email, maybe there's something going on with the site, and I'll send that over to the developers ASAP. From what I could tell, everything's good to go. But please, if anybody here has signed up to flockfantasy.com within the last 24 hours, let me know. Let me know your experience with it, just so I can make sure everything's good to go. And of course, if you're not on flockfantasy.com, that's where all my rankings are. That's where all my premium content is. And yeah, if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you'll get 30% off any subscription. On top of that, not only will you get access to pretty much every creator that you watch on YouTube, all their rankings, all their premium content, but yours truly will go ahead and make a podcast breaking down your fantasy football team this year if you sign up to the Mother Flocker tier on flockfantasy.com with promo code FLOCK. But Cool says, I signed up yesterday, no problems. I had that issue, but just exited that screen and logged in. Okay, cool. So I guess if you're having an issue trying to verify your email, just close out the window and log in. You should be good. I had no issues. Premium content, we talking OnlyFans? Of course, that's what we're talking about, man. What else would I be? Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Dobbins here. I mean, with Dobbins, missing practice, definitely not too exciting, right? You'd have to be a little bit concerned about this. But at the end of the day, it sounds like with Dobbins, this is more a contract dispute rather than an actual injury. And yeah, I mean, I just assume that Dobbins is going to have to get back to practice soon. I mean, I don't necessarily know if he has a lot of leverage in this situation, but it is what it is. And Jack says, I figured it out. Thanks. Okay, well, cool. Really happy to hear that, my friend. Happy to hear that. Okay. Now, George Pickens going 68, getting that highlight treatment from the viral clip earlier today at training camp. Love to see it. Love to see it. Oracle Zap says, hey, Mason, thanks for the content. No, thank you so much for stopping by the live stream, my friend. Braden says, only cans, sparkling water content. Yes. On flockfantasy.com, you'll have all my premium sparkling water content. I don't really talk fantasy over there. I don't give up-to-date rankings. I don't put out exclusive articles. I don't break down your fantasy football team for you in a personalized podcast. Instead, it's me reviewing sparkling water flavors, okay? Can't miss it. Can't miss it. Now, James Conner goes 72. Very early to see Conner go here. I mean, definitely going to be a unique build where you used to see, or primarily still see, James Conner going at the 7-8 turn rather than the 6-7 turn. And okay, never mind. This team's just going rogue. They go ahead and they take Kadarius Toney at 73 as if the man just did. Oh my gosh. Regardless, I'll be happy about it, of course, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and cry seeing that happen. Now, this is another draft where Michael Pittman falls down to round 7. Michael Pittman down here picks 74. Wild, wild. Montgomery, 75. Lawrence goes to Bush here. This is a team that took Calvin Ridley. Getting Trevor Lawrence at 76 is an absolute no-brainer for him. I honestly would have taken Trevor Lawrence if he would have made it to us at 78, considering there are multiple teams in this league that take 2 elite level quarterbacks. Okay. Swift off the board. Y'all know I love me some Dallas Goedert, right? Like, in a lot of these drafts, I'll be taking Dallas Goedert here in the middle of round 7. However, every once in a while, we do need to have a draft where we don't take Dallas Goedert. And this is probably one of those to do so. We only have 2 wide receivers in Chris Olave, Drake London through the first 6 rounds. We get Jordan Addison falling to us in the middle of round 7. So probably makes sense for us to go ahead and pull the trigger on Jordan Addison here at pick 78. Cito says, Pittman is a lot less appealing with the Jonathan Taylor concerns. NBF says Pittman falling with the J2 news is weird. Let me know in the live chat. Please, everybody spam the chat. With Jonathan Taylor potentially being on his way out in Indianapolis, are you moving Michael Pittman up, down, or the same in your rankings? Does Pittman go up, down, or the same in your rankings? Okay. Down, down, down. Down, up, same, up, down. Down, up, same, up, up. I was just going to keep them the same. Like, they can make an argument the offense is a little bit worse overall. Make an argument they have to be a little bit more pass happy. Maybe it evens out. I don't know. Now, Deshaun Watson off the board, 86. Okay. Burks goes 87. It's a little scary to take Pacheco, right? I mean, with the possibility of JT going over to KC. I feel like we drafted a lot of Pacheco too. Like, I'm the idiot who didn't draft Pacheco last year, but took Pacheco in round 8 a ton this year. Like, I have 11% Isaiah Pacheco. But I also have almost 20% Kamara. So do we want to go Kamara here? 2 off the board. If we reach on a wide receiver, we're taking Bateman, Sky Moore, or Cortland Sutton. I don't necessarily know if we want to be doing that here. If we go running back, it's our last running back in this draft. We'll take Pacheco and say, what if the Chiefs don't bring in another back? Who knows? We're telling a lot of what if stories. Oh, what if New England doesn't bring in another running back? Oh, what if Kansas City doesn't bring in another running back? But, I mean, hell, if that doesn't happen, should be sitting pretty with this team now. Extremely heavy running back build up until this point, right? 5 running backs through the first 8 rounds. So we are not going to be able to take another running back through the rest of this draft. But Tommy Knows coming out says, I noticed Rappaport said earlier there are teams actually interested in trading for Jonathan Taylor and willing to give him a contract. If that's the case, I kind of have a feeling Jerry Jones would pounce for the spectacle. Honestly, I do like the call. It would be such a disrespectful move for Pollard, right? Where they decide, yeah, we're not going to give Pollard a long-term deal, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, let's trade for Jonathan Taylor and let's give Taylor it. First up, my man, thank you so much for hanging out with us in the live stream every single night. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I actually think Dallas would be a possibility. And Dallas, very similar to Madre for us. I mean, these running backs that look like league winners as it stands today that I'm inherently a little bit worried about. What's funny is I've only drafted Tony Pollard in 5% of my drafts, but I took him in the $1,000 league, so he's one of my most invested into running backs this year. So even if I only have him in 5%, I'm still really rooting for Pollard. Now, that boy OD, long time member of the flock, says 10-team PPR, 2 quarterback, 3 wide receiver league. Quarterback Lawrence, Watson, running back Pollard, Brees, wide receiver Chase, St. Brown, Debo. No real tight end, flex dots. I really like this team, my man. I mean, I really do. I think that if you already go ahead and make this consolidated bet on the Jacksonville Jaguars offense by deciding to take Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't mind if you wanted to double down on that bet by seeing if you could trade away Debo Samuel for a wide receiver like Calvin Ridley. Yeah, I mean, you just have to dodge the Jets or Cowboys possibly bringing another back, right? The Jets or the Cowboys don't bring in another running back. You're golden there. Okay. Dylan off the board, so good for us. We have a massive run on running backs with James Cook, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson, A.J. Dillon, Rashad Penny, all going between our picks, which is what we needed considering the fact we already had 5 RBs. Let's see what Kobe does here. They're willing to go get their guy. They took Pickens at pick 68 earlier. They go Sky Moore. Oh, my gosh. Do we go Bateman or Sutton? Not a super big fan of either one of these guys. You are going to see Sutton move up draft boards considerably with the injury to Patrick, as well as the situation with Hamler. But we'll go Bateman. We've already taken Dobbins, so we've already made a bet on this Baltimore Ravens offense. At the same time, the majority of these drafts in Best Ball Mania, Bateman has gone at the beginning of the 8th round, sometimes at the very end of the 7th. Whereas Cortland Sutton has gone with this pick range a lot. So we are getting that ADP value on Bateman. So we'll take him. I think Sutton would have been a fine option, but it is what it is, right? Like, I don't necessarily think this is going to make or break our draft. And even if it does, I don't know how to predict which way we should go. But Joe says, do you think Sam Laporta is a sleeper tight end? So in general, I actually did not like Sam Laporta at cost really leading up till today, where the other tight end in Detroit just went down. It's going to be out for a couple months. So that does open up the window even more for Sam Laporta to have an immediate role this next season. I think you can draft Sam Laporta in these underdog best ball drafts that go extremely deep. However, in your regular redraft format, you're probably not too incentivized to draft Sam Laporta there. Instead, you're more likely to just wait, put him on your watch list, and as soon as he shows you something, then maybe you go ahead and pick him up off the waiver wire. But I don't know. Teresa says, watch the Colts sign Cook or Fournette. I think it's very interesting. I don't necessarily know if they could go Dalvin because it seems like Dalvin has enough interest where he can kind of pick a spot. But if you're looking at like Fournette, if you're looking at Hunt, if you're looking at Zeke, I don't necessarily know if there's enough hype for those running backs for them to choose where they are going. They may just have to settle somewhere. I think maybe they settle with Indianapolis. Okay. Now, Sutton, Lazard, Tyler Boyd, all off the board. Geno goes. We weren't really looking at Geno Smith here. Alex says, look up the Hyatt news. I saw the Hyatt news. His agent's going out there and saying that he's the fastest player in the NFL. They tracked him, blah, blah, blah. Even if it was true, it doesn't really matter. What matters is, can he generate separation? Can he win at the catch point? Can he pick up yards after? I'm not saying you should not take Jalen Hyatt. But I don't necessarily think you should be pushing Jalen Hyatt up your draft board considering, and just because what his agent said, right? I mean, this is a player that ran like a 4.40 40-yard dash. So, I mean, we know he's fast, right? But I don't think he's Tyreek Hill. And just because his agent says something doesn't mean I'm going to believe it immediately. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take David Njoku here. Y'all know I'm a massive David Njoku fanboy. I'm a massive Pat Frymuth fanboy. Maybe you should make maybe we can make the argument, well, Mason, come on, man. I mean, you need to set yourself up with the stack a little later on. Maybe you could, instead of taking David Njoku, take Pat Frymuth. That way you could go Kenny Pickett at the end of this draft. And if you would tell me that, I would say, I agree with you, my friend. I am an idiot. We should have taken Pat Frymuth instead of David Njoku. But almost regardless, going to be super excited about getting that David Njoku value at 115. Okay, let's move this down. Chris says, Dynasty, Breece Hall about to fall to the 309. Do I do it? In a one quarterback format? Hell yes. Superflex? Adam says, reasonable overpay for the 101 from 104 in a 10-team startup. If it is a one quarterback format, I'd be very excited to move up. I'd probably be willing to pay like a 6th round pick. That way you can get Justin Jefferson. If it's a super flex league, I don't necessarily know how much I want to be moving up because you're still going to get Jalen Hurts there. The issue is in a one quarterback format at pick 4, you're not going to have access to Chase, Jefferson, or Bijan Robinson. Okay. Let's move this back around. Nico Collins off the board at 121. So Pirine as well as Juju are falling a considerable amount in this draft. Dalton Kincaid goes 122. Right now, running back, we have Bijan, Ramondre, Kenneth Walker, J.K. Dobbins, Isaiah Pacheco. Wide receiver, we have Olave, London, Addison, Bateman. Tight end, we have David Njoku. Romeo Doubs off the board, 123. And I forgot, okay, thank God I reminded myself, we can't take a running back. It doesn't even matter if Samaje Perine makes it 126. We can't take him. We are exclusively wide receiver, tight end, quarterback through the rest of this draft. Elijah Mitchell goes 124. Let's see if Samaje Perine finally goes. Hell, Perine ADP 108. We're at pick 125 at this point. There goes Samaje Perine. Now we're going to get Juju Smith-Schuster. I actually really like getting Juju here, falling 10 picks past his ADP for a couple different reasons. One being, I like the ADP value. 2 being, we need a wide receiver. And 3 being, we have Ramondre Stevenson. So once we take Juju here, we can set ourselves up for a double stack that maybe doesn't have a lot of upside, right? But I mean, at this point, not a lot of quarterbacks have a lot of upside. But we can go Mac Jones later on in this draft, pair Mac Jones up with both Ramondre Stevenson as well as Juju Smith-Schuster. So I'd say Juju at 126 is about best case scenario for us here. And also, I think this is a much more reasonable price point on Samaje Perine. Y'all know we were laughing at people taking Samaje Perine in round 9 earlier this offseason. But I think if you're going to get Samaje Perine round 11 next to someone like Elijah Mitchell, I think it's a strong value, and I think that's about where he should go. Okay. Let's move this over. After we take Juju, Greg Dulcich immediately goes 127. Definitely someone that I think should move up a little bit with the injury to Tim Patrick, as well as the potential departure of KJ Hamler. Obviously, we're going to have to continue to monitor that, but still. Okay, Darnell Mooney off 130. Mooney would have been a wide receiver I would have been happy to have on the way back around at 139, but just a little unlikely that that ever happens. And I meant to tell y'all know we've said that if we hit 200,000 subscribers before the season starts, we'll do the 24-hour live stream again. And it looks like there is a chance that may actually happen. The reason I said if we hit 200,000 subscribers, the reason I picked that number is I really don't want to do another 24-hour live stream drafting fantasy football teams. I thought it was unreasonable, but I just pulled up my phone. We've gained like 500 subs today. Like if we do this every day, especially as we ramp up for the season, end of August, early September, there's a real shot we hit 200K. Now, Schultz goes 134. Condre Miller off the board, 135. Zay Jones falling a considerable amount. I wonder if this has anything to do with like the clip of him going out of training camp. I mean, he just looked so much freaking slower than Calvin Ridley. I wonder if that has really any impact on this. Now, in terms of quarterbacks we can take, I don't necessarily know if Goff is too appealing, right? Like Goff, we have no Lions. I guess we could go Sam Laporta later on if we really wanted to now, but probably not. Probably not. Okay. Let's move this. We're going to be looking QB, wide receiver, tight end. Jared Goff goes 137. That's Alex. Alex is in the live chat. He takes Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, strong value on Goff, especially if you're getting the stacked. I really like Alex's team. Yeah, we can look at Alex's team after this. I really like his build. I think I like his team more than ours. Jalen Warren goes. So we're going to take, I guess, Zay Jones, who's falling down draft boards, I think, because of the training camp clip. I mean, to be fair, yeah, Calvin Ridley looks much, much better if you compare them one for one, but I don't know. A great offense, spike week potential. We saw it at the end of last season. So let's go ahead and let's take him here, 139. Now, what sucks, right, is Lawrence is already off the board. So it's just another guy that we're taking where we don't have a potential stack later on. Right now, the main offenses that we bet on have been the Atlanta Falcons as well as the New England Patriots, the combo of Bijan and London, and the combo of Ramondre and Juju. So we're probably taking Mac Jones, Desmond Ridder in this draft, and it feels gross. But Alex says, thanks, Mason. Tried my best out here. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's check out Alex's team. He was in here at pick 8. He goes Kelsey, pick 8. Very rarely you're going to see Kelsey fall that far. Then very rarely you're going to see Amon-Ra St. Brown make it to you at pick 17. So he gets a unique start out the gate that has upside. Then he goes Deebo Samuel, 32. Travis Etienne, 41. Godwin, 56. Sanders, 65. Great value on Dotson. Strong value on Cooks. Strong value on Sutton. Gets Dak Prescott at a value to stack with Brandon Cooks. Gets Jared Goff at a value to stack with, oh my gosh, with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love your team, my man. I would trade my team for your team in a heartbeat. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's an awesome team there. Okay. Let's move this back around. We cannot take running backs. Like I've said, we have Bijan, Ramondre, Walker, Dobbins, Pacheco. Doesn't matter if Tank Bigsby makes it around 18. I can't draft the guy. We are still quarterback, wide receiver, tight end through the rest of this. Derek Carr definitely in play considering the fact that we have Chris Olave, right? Kind of depends on some of the other values that make it to us. Tank Bigsby goes 147. Okay. Mantis says the $3 million team will not have Mac Jones and Desmond Ridder as the quarterbacks. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do, my friend. We're going to look at this draft, and you can tell me where I should have taken a different quarterback. That's what we'll do. Alec Pierce off the board. I think we're going to go ahead, take Derek Carr, pair him up with Chris Olave here. And let's see, Mantis, where should we have taken an elite level quarterback in this draft? Should I have taken Mahomes in the middle of round 2 instead of Olave? Probably not. Should I have taken Lamar over Ramondre? Probably not. Should I have taken Burrow or Fields over London? Probably not. Should I have taken Lawrence unstacked over Dobbins? Probably not. Where's our next shot? Should we take Deshaun Watson over Addison? Probably not. No, we needed to take a wide receiver with Bateman. Maybe Daniel Jones over Njoku. I think this is how the draft board fell for us. I don't necessarily know if there are too many other things that we could do to avoid what we're looking at. I know some people are saying take Anthony Richardson, but I mean, at that point, we were 8 rounds deep, 3 wide receivers in Olave, London, Addison. We were really supposed to take Richardson over Bateman, false 10 picks past ADP when we need a wide receiver. Probably not. But it is what it is. Realistically speaking, if we wanted one of those quarterbacks, we were going to have to dramatically reach on them. We didn't have a spot where it made sense to reach a ton on the quarterback with this build in particular. So sometimes the spot you're in. Sometimes you're rolling with Derek Carr, Mac Jones, Desmond Ridder. Okay. Deonta Foreman goes 154. Good for us. We just want to see running backs get drafted, right? Like, that's going to be the main thing here. Yeah, this team is rolling with 0 quarterbacks just like we were. Let's see if they do anything. They take Kenny Pickett there. They had Deontay Johnson. They are taking Kenny Pickett about 15 picks before ADP, but, I mean, can't blame him. You have no idea Pickett's going to make it back to you, right? And you have no quarterbacks. They go Love 157. So hopefully we see Roschon and Singletary off the board by the time that we're back up, but by no means is it a guarantee. Laporta 159. So one thing is, if you're looking at like Taysom, it doesn't make a lot of sense to pair up Taysom Hill with Derek Carr, because when Taysom Hill scores a touchdown and when you want him to spike into your starting lineup, more times than not, it's going to be because he steals a touchdown from Derek Carr. Obviously not being that traditional tight end, but Singletary goes 161. I think we're actually going to take Donovan Peoples-Jones. Actually, no. Do we want Shaheed? We're going to go Shaheed. We'll get the double stack with Derek Carr, Chris Olave, and Shaheed. Don't love it. Don't hate it. It's kind of just whatever, right? Let's move this down. Chris says 109 Superflex, 3 wide receivers leagues. First 3, Lamar, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs. I like it if it's a 12-team format, my friend. I like it if it's a 12-team league. 10-team league, 12-team league, I like it. Okay, after we go Shaheed, yeah, Purdy, Jerome Ford, Donovan Peoples-Jones, all off. Mike says, Underdog doesn't let me sign up. Chance is you're not in a state where Underdog is available, my friend. These are the states where Underdog Fantasy is available. Also available in Canada outside of Ontario. But you have the states that don't have Underdog, like Louisiana, Nevada, Washington, Michigan, and then you can see the map. You can see the map. Okay. Let's move this down. Okay. I mean, we can definitely get our quarterbacks round 17 and 18, right? So we have 4 rounds left. The thing is, can we get away with only taking 7 wide receivers? We definitely need 3 quarterbacks. Can we get away with only 7 wide receivers? I don't know the answer to that. We'll go Juwan Johnson and just make a bet that the New Orleans Saints are much better than people expect this next season. That's how this team would be any good. Get Juwan Johnson, I guess, triple stacked with Derek Carr at this point. Because the thing is, I don't necessarily know if we need another wide receiver, but I know for a damn fact we need another tight end. Now, the question is David Njoku, Juwan Johnson enough to get it done at tight end? Probably not. I probably want another. But wide receiver, we only have Olave, London, Addison, Bateman, Juju, Zay Jones, and Shaheed. Yeah, so to be honest with you, I do not like this team, ladies and gentlemen. I do not think this team is going to be the one that wins it for us. I think we honestly need to take another tight end, especially if we take a third tight end, we'll be more likely to advance. If we advance, we at least get our money back with this team. So it's going to be a 3 QB, 3 tight end build. Okay. Now, Tajay Spears off the board at 178. And now that we know it's a 3 tight end, 3 quarterback build, I think we're actually just going to bounce to our next draft here, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be another Best Ball Mania draft, and I will keep y'all posted on the 2 quarterbacks and the other tight end that we end up taking. More likely than not, I'm going to be taking Desmond Ridder, Mac Jones, based off the way that team was constructed. And we will also be taking whatever the best tight end available to us is. Okay. What the hell? Give us pick 1. What are we doing here? We're at pick 10. We had pick 1 every freaking day in the live stream for like a week. We've not had pick 1 for like 5 days in a row now. Dear God. Nick in here with us at the 109, my man. Thank you for letting us know that you were right before us getting ready to snipe. Hopefully it's not too brutal. Hopefully it's not too brutal. But let me know if you are in this draft with us, ladies and gentlemen. Scorp saying pick 10's painful. Hopefully we can make it work. I'll try my best, my friend. I will try my best. Okay. Marker word drafting with Flock's Kryptonite. Oh, my man. I'm happy he's not with me. Happy he's not with me. Now, let's see. And of course, if y'all want to get into one of these drafts with us, we're doing this every single night on the live stream. These are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during this season. It's how I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 last year. This is Best Ball Mania, the largest draft tournament in fantasy football. $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool, $3 million for first place. If you want to get in, if you want to draft with us, you can sign up with promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, we'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, and you can check out all the player props that they have on Underdog as well. My favorite props are Chubb plus half a rushing touchdown versus Jacobs and Chase plus 25 receiving yards versus Adams. Okay, so let's move this down. CMC makes it a pick 5. Diggs goes 6. So in that other draft, just to keep y'all posted, we went Gesicki as our third tight ends. So we're going to be getting either Kelsey, Eckler, or Bijan here now that A.J. Brown's off the board. Kelsey goes 9. I'm sorry, Kelsey goes 8. Ryan out here, pick 5 with us. He got CMC in pick 5. We got MF57 in here at 11. Chris says, just got Brees for the 402 in a Dynasty Super Bowl. 402 I like. 402 I like, my man. Okay, Eckler goes. So we're going to get our guy Bijan Robinson. Like I've said, outside of the first 5 players in fantasy drafts this year, I'm going to take someone that I want to root for. I want to root for Bijan Robinson, so we're going to take him here at pick 10. Super simple. Super simple. Okay, so we just went Desmond Ridder in that other draft, round 17, to pair him up with Bijan as well as Drake London. Okay. You have some Garrett Wilson news. I can't even read it. Garrett Wilson's already gone. Crazy to see Chubb now just going round 1 consistently. Barkley goes 13. Barkley would have been someone we were looking at. St. Brown off the board. All right. Just trying to think. We're going to take Adams. We drafted a lot of Devontae Adams. I understand inherently there's a lot of risk with Devontae Adams in this quarterback situation for the Raiders. I'm not going to argue with you. I agree. But with that being said, Devontae Adams has been the best wide receiver in fantasy over the past 3 seasons. Here, getting him as, a borderline low-end wide receiver 1, that uncertainty, that downside is priced in. Now, of course, that's not to say we're drafting him at his floor. His floor may be a lot lower than this if Jimmy Garoppolo is just straight up bunts. But nonetheless, really like it. I just got sent this. Oh my gosh, this is... This is so funny. How are accounts like this, how do they exist? JPA Football tweets, trending, Bears quarterback Justin Fields appears to be a heavy MVP favorite. He has more bets to win MVP this year than Mahomes, Herbert, and Allen combined. Safe to say that people are expecting a Jalen Hurts-style breakout for Justin Fields. Y'all wonder why, I say Justin Fields is overrated. But... So Rom coming out says, yes, Mason, hope you're doing well, mate. Not the first pick again. Seems like you haven't worked hard enough lately. I know, my man. I need to get on the grind. Need to get working a little harder. And hopefully one day we can be back. Hopefully one day we can be back, my friend. But Jacobs goes 25. You're not seeing Jacobs go there very often anymore. And we're going to go Mac Jones with our last pick in that other draft. Hopefully this draft's better than that last one was. Calvin Ridley, 26. You're seeing Calvin Ridley go there more and more often now. Jalen Hurts, 27. See how far Josh Allen falls. I guess the furthest Allen would fall would be pick 30, right, to the Diggs team. I'm sure that team there that took Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith out the gate, pretty pissed they're not getting Jalen Hurts there, 28. 1 pick away. They go Andrews instead of 28. Y'all know I'm not a big Andrews guy. I just have a very hard time making teams that I like with drafting Mark Andrews in the 3rd this year. Taylor finally off the board at 29. That team there at 5, they are in this live stream with us. goes CMC, Jalen Waddle, Jonathan Taylor through the first 3 rounds. Oh, that is beautiful. I am so damn jealous. Amari Cooper off the board at 32. We're going to take Lamar Jackson. I'm done not having an elite level quarterback, right? But back-to-back drafts, no elite level quarterback. It's been brutal. It's been tough to overcome. And we're just going to lock in our guy here at pick 34. Ryan saying he's our daddy. He told us he's happy. Yeah, I mean, not going to lie to you, my man. You are crushing us in this draft. That pick 5 going CMC, Waddle, Jonathan Taylor out the gate. I mean, that is just freaking beautiful. That is beautiful, my man. Chris says, is Adams going to demand a trade? Are the rumors true? I mean, hell, he's done it before. If Devontae Adams got traded to the Jets, it'd be very exciting this season. The Jets somehow made that work. ETN off the board, 36. Y'all know ETN's a player that I take a lot in the 4th round. McLaurin, 37. Good for us. Yeah, we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Jerry Jeudy here. Not going to lie, it's not like I was targeting Jerry Jeudy specifically over Jahmyr Gibbs, Najee Harris earlier on. But now that you have no Patrick, now that you have a question mark surrounding KJ Hamler as well in this offense, I think you have a lot more clarity on how the target distribution is going to be here in Denver. And going to be a lot more excited to go ahead and take Jerry Jeudy there, pick 39. But Dan coming out with the donation, thank you so much, my man. Really, really do appreciate you. And NBF says he wanted Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, we did take Jahmyr Gibbs, not in the last draft. We took him in the draft before. I think we got him at 46 in one of the drafts today, but I don't know. Only having one wide receiver through the first 3 rounds. We know these wide receivers are going to go quick on Underdog. I feel like Jerry Jeudy in round 4 is a decent price considering the Patrick Hamler news. Let's go ahead. Let's just take him. Let's take him. Now, Joe Mixon off 45. NBF wanted Gibbs because he's a Lions fan. You got Lamar as your profile pick, my man. You're a Lions Lamar fan? If you're a true Lions, throw Goff on there. What you doing? Yeah. You want an exciting player like Lamar? No, throw Goff on there. Come on. Okay. Now, Christian Kirk off the board 47. Really interesting to take Kirk there instead of DJ Moore. In my mind, I'm going DJ Moore and setting ourselves up with a guaranteed stack there, pick 50, whether or not we get Burrow or Justin Fields. This team at 1 can go DJ Moore, Justin Fields if they want. They go Hawkinson instead, which is interesting. Is DJ Moore already drafted or no? In my mind, if I don't have a quarterback already and I'm able to lock ourselves into DJ Moore, Justin Fields at the 4 or 5 turn, it's going to be a no-brainer for me. It's going to be a no-brainer. Okay, and they're taking this all the way down. They're letting this auto. And they go Joe Burrow. Yeah, that's why we were saying that team there at pick 2 should have gone ahead. They should have taken DJ Moore instead of Christian Kirk. And now I actually, no, never mind. I guess they were going with the Jacksonville double stack to go Ridley and Christian Kirk there with Trevor Lawrence, which that's really interesting, right? Now the question is, how far does Justin Fields fall? You assume the Jalen Hurts team's not taking him. DJ Moore's not even off the board yet. Saram says, do you prefer Waddle, Higgins, or Olave? I'm part of the Waddle fan club too, but feel like a fully healthy Higgins might be in for a big year. What are your thoughts? I'm going to go Waddle. I mean, the difference, I think, between the Miami Dolphins as well as the Cincinnati Bengals passing offenses is in Miami, you really have no third option, whether or not that's a tight end or a third wide receiver. So the targets are going to be so heavily concentrated between Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle that I'm super confident projecting that out. With T. Higgins, you are going to have some leeches in that offense, right? Like Tyler Boyd, like Irv Smith Jr., going ahead and taking targets. I mean, hell, Joe Mixon had a 15% target share this past season. DJ Moore finally off the board at 56. Dear God. Finally. And we'll go ahead. We will take Aaron Jones. I haven't drafted a lot of Aaron Jones. I mean, with his age, I do think that there's inherent downside plus the overall offense. But I mean, hell, there are no players that really stand out here as phenomenal values for us. Aaron Jones falls 6 picks, passes ADP. I'm going to draft a bunch of teams this year just because I think he has downside. Doesn't mean I can't draft him at all. There's still a chance that he goes out there and plays well. So let's just take him here, right? I mean, it makes sense to take him here. Okay. Now, Dan coming out says, Bijan first round, AJ Garrett or Pollard in the second. It's going to depend on your format. If you're playing in a league where you can start 4 or more wide receivers, I'm going to want to go ahead and go AJ Brown. If you can only start 3 wide receivers, Pollard's a little bit more interesting. I still probably go AJ Brown no matter what, my friend. Especially if you think you can get Jalen Hurts possibly in round 3. Now, Pickens off pick 60. Pickens is moving up, ladies and gentlemen, with this highlight grab. Dear God. George Pickens is moving up, and the report on Alexander Mattison may have suffered injury. Mattison was seen limping near the end of Tuesday's practice. The nature of Mattison's potential injury isn't known, but he observed the latter stages of the session from the sideline before making his way to the locker room. Okay, that will be something people have to monitor. Okay, yeah, Deontay going. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to grab another wide receiver here, right? We only have 2 wide receivers through the first 5 rounds. So let's take Chris Godwin, pick 63. With Godwin, obviously much better than this past season, but also the offense is going to be much worse than this. I mean, it was last year, this next season. So it's kind of priced in. We're getting me at round 6. Yeah, that team at 12 is just going and getting their guys. They go George Pickens, pick 60. And then grabbing Darren Waller at 61. It's really interesting. Now, Mike Evans goes immediately after we take Chris Godwin. It's kind of funny is if you look at the Underdog player props right now, I mean, they currently have Godwin and Mike Evans pretty high in comparison to the other guys where they go around. They have Godwin at 905 receiving yards. They have Evans at 950. And I believe Mike Evans has had like 7 straight seasons of 1,000 or more yards. I believe it's like 7 straight seasons or so. Generally, Mike Evans does not miss football games. Okay. Now, Lockett making it all the way down to 67. Addison goes 68. I believe in the last draft, we got Jordan Addison at 80, right? Actually, no, we got Jordan Addison maybe at 78. We got him somewhere around there. 78, 79, 80, tomato. Okay, Dobbins makes it down to 69. Sanders, 70. God, these guys just keep falling. Oh, I'm sorry. Mike Evans had 9 straight seasons of 1,000 receiving yards. And his underdog prop this year is 950. And I'm not saying that you should go take the more then. Like, honestly, like, makes sense for them to have him this low considering the fact you have Baker. What's interesting is you have the receiving touchdown rivals line. You get plus half a receiving touchdown on the Christian Watson side, despite the fact that Christian Watson goes, I mean, like 20, 30 picks ahead of Mike Evans here in these drafts. Okay. Now, Dotson off 73. Montgomery's moved up these boards a considerable amount as well, which, I mean, honestly, he should have. Let's move this around. We have a lot of flexibility with what we can do with this team. Quarterback, we have Lamar. Running back, Bijan, Aaron Jones. Wide receiver, Adams, Judy, Godwin. So we can really do whatever we want here at the 8-9 turn. It's going to depend on what value makes it to us. Alexander Mattison made it all the way down to 76. Yeah, people are really concerned about that Alexander Mattison injury. God, that's an exciting team right there. Arsway, also an extremely exciting team. I don't know if I would take Addison where they did, I'd probably go like Dobbins instead, but nonetheless. Kyle Pitts down at 78. Love the Kyle Pitts selection. If Kyle Pitts would have made it to us at 82, I'd have been ecstatic. Oh, I love this. They should turn Baker loose like old school Jameis. I loved old school Jameis. Loved him. Like, I played in a league where you got 1 point per 20 passing yards versus 1 point per 25, as well as you got 6 points per passing touchdown. And Jameis dominated. Like, Jameis was so damn good that year where he had like 30 picks. We're going to go Rachaad White. We've already made a bet that maybe Baker Mayfield's a little bit better than people expect by taking Chris Godwin here. So can't hurt to go, I guess, Baker Mayfield round 18. Isaiah Pacheco, 84. Devin says, when Jameis had 3 interceptions in a game, you knew he was going off. I mean, yeah. It's the old school Jameis move. Throw as many picks as you can to get down early. That way they have no other option but to allow you to just sling it after. And I know most smart people here take Zay Flowers. If you're going to listen to someone who knows what they're doing, they say, okay, I've already made the bet with this Baltimore Ravens offense. I've already taken Lamar Jackson. Let me go ahead and let me take Zay Flowers. I'm not smart, so instead, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Treylon Burks here at 87. But Johnny coming out with the donation. Happy to see my man. Says, my man, long time no talk. Been tuning in. Keep grinding. In my dynasty league, do I trade Barkley and Hawkinson for Breece Hall, Dalton Kincaid, and a future second? Well, I definitely prefer having TJ Hawkinson over Dalton Kincaid and the future second. In dynasty, Saquon Barkley versus Breece Hall is going to be, I mean, not a super easy decision, right? I definitely think it comes down to if you're going to be a rebuilding or a contending roster. So I think maybe you can say this overall trade, the value today sides with the Barkley and Hawkinson side. But if you were a rebuilding team, I understand why you'd want to possibly pivot over to Hall, Kincaid, and a future second. Okay. Let's move this over. Zay Flowers goes 90. James Cook off 91. I really want to see what Arsway is doing in this draft. I mean, feels like he's been crushing it. So CMC, Waddle, Taylor out the gate. Hopkins round 4. Fields round 5. Yeah, love the Fields pick. The only pick I really don't like from that team so far has been the Addison selection at 68. I understand you need a wide receiver more than you need a running back, but I mean, I don't know. I still probably pulled the trigger on Sanders or Dobbins. I don't know. Huday says, do you think Tyreek will be the first wide receiver to get 2,000 yards? That's his goal. I think that the 2 wide receivers that have the best odds of getting 2,000 yards at some point will be Chase and Jefferson. Because Tyreek, I'm not saying is going to fall off dramatically in 2024, 2025, but it's not like Tyreek Hill is getting better, right? Like, if Tyreek's going to do it, this is the season for him. Where Jefferson, Chase, they can do it 2023, but maybe they can do it 2024. Maybe they can do it 2025. Maybe they can do it 2026, you know? So, yeah, I'd say that if I was betting on a wide receiver to eventually get a 2,000-yard season, I would be Jefferson Chase, if I'm going to be honest with you. Jeep Guy says Kupp could. Yeah, Kupp I'd put in the same bucket as Tyreek, where Kupp's now 30, right? So it's not like Kupp's going to be more likely to do it in 2024, 2025. I think if Kupp's going to do it just like Tyreek, they have to do it this season, you know? Okay. Let's move this back around. But Rashad Penny going off the board 99. Kadarius Toney off the board, pick 100. Is where I said I would draft Toney. I said I would draft Kadarius Toney, pick 100 or after. Now that he's falling here, I'll be drafting Kadarius Toney. I think this is a fair price point. Okay. Dak goes 102. Richardson 103. Jameson off. I think a lot of y'all probably know what I'm going to look to do here, right? Let's see what perfect 260. They go David Njoku. I was looking at Njoku. Do we take Dillon and just monopolize the Green Bay backfield? Let's do it. I don't know if we should. I don't know if I like it. It's probably not great. We do get both guys past ADP. Taking Dillon here does lock us into that 5 running back build. Oh. And out of pretty much all the guys on the board, Dillon's the one player that we're pretty confident is not going to make it back to us, right? You could see almost anybody else here make it back but Dillon. Okay, Odell off the board, 108. Odell definitely was going to be in play for us in 111, considering the fact that we took Lamar and passed on Bateman as well as Flowers. Lazard, 109. Freiermuth goes. Feel like we want a little bit more of a discount on Charbonnet if we're drafting him. Y'all know I really have no interest in Pirine. I think we're actually going to take Daniel Jones for the rushing upside. I think that there are going to be very few teams that have Daniel Jones and Lamar Jackson as their 2 quarterbacks because they do line up on the same bye and people actively avoid that. Personally, I couldn't care, so I'm going to go after that unique build. Hopefully have that advantage in the fantasy football playoff stretch. With Daniel Jones, we can be looking at some Giants wide receivers later on. On top of this with Daniel Jones, he has his own rushing upside. I don't really see a massive opportunity cost in passing on Devon Achane, Juju Smith-Schuster, Zach Charbonnet, Nico Collins. So yeah, let's grab the quarterback here. We're going to be done taking 2 quarterbacks. This will be a league where we draft 3 tight ends, ladies and gentlemen. 3 tight ends. Okay. Nico Collins off 115. Romeo Dobbs goes 116. Pirine finally goes. Yeah, so you're seeing Samaje Perine fall considerably in these drafts, which, like I said, I mean, all along, Samaje Perine should have been going lower. Like, the main thing is, the main question you have to ask yourself if you're drafting Samaje Perine, what upside does he have in weeks 15, 16, 17? That's the question you need to ask. Okay, Gino finally off the board, 119. It's pretty much what I'm looking to see is quarterback. I'm solo asking where George Pickens went. Let me show you, my friend. George Pickens went at pick 60. Yeah, Pickens went early in this draft. And yeah, the reason Greg Dulcich is moving up is just because the overall wide receiver core has been thinned out for the Denver Broncos. So it's easier to project targets to the tight end position there. Okay, so Zay Jones off the board. Swing this back around. We have the flexibility to do almost anything we want, right? Anything but quarterback. Bigsby goes. Early for Tank Bigsby. I feel like you went like 30 picks after this in the last draft. Yeah, Tank Bigsby going here 122. Elijah Mitchell 123. So quarterback right now, we're sitting with Lamar, Daniel Jones. Running back, we have Bijan, Aaron Jones, Rashad White, A.J. Dillon. Wide receiver, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, Treylon Burks. Darnell Mooney goes 124. It's right before Sway. Sway had Justin Fields. He pivots over to Greg Dulcich here to pair up Dulcich as well as Cortland Sutton. Gallup goes 126. Myers 127. This team is Mahomes. I wonder if they go McKinnon. They go Rondale Moore instead. Yeah, they take Mahomes, pick 17, and I've not stacked Mahomes once. Maybe they're looking at Rashee Rice on the way back around. Quarterbacks, Rodgers. Rodgers wouldn't have made a lot of sense for us, even if we could have taken quarterback right. McKinnon goes, so we're going to take Damian Harris here. Don't really see why Damian Harris is falling this far. Maybe people think that Buffalo's bringing in another running back, which is definitely a possibility, right? But, I mean, it's kind of baked into his price from the get-go. Aaron Rodgers goes 131. And at this point, we are only wide receiver tight end through the rest of this draft. We're going to take 4 more wide receivers and 3 more tight ends. KJ Osborne, 132. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take Dalton Kincaid. I mean, at the end of the day, Kincaid obviously has pretty damn high ceiling if you're considering the fact this is a tight end playing with Josh Allen. He looks like he's going to be running a ton of routes, possibly operating as a slot wide receiver there in Buffalo. So I actually really like this team, ladies and gentlemen. Running back, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Rashad White, A.J. Dillon, Damian Harris. Wide receiver, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, Treylon Burks. Quarterback, we have Lamar Daniel Jones. Tight end, Dalton Kincaid. Okay. Let's move this down. Kyler and Russ go 140, 141. Good for us. Just get these quarterbacks off the board. Yeah, so Arsway gets Russ behind ADP to double stack with both Cortland Sutton as well as Greg Dulcich. So I mean, clearly they're pretty excited about that. I mean, God, they're killing this draft. They're killing this draft. Van Jefferson goes 142. And the tight ends are falling a considerable amount. You have both the second-year tight end in Tennessee still available, as well as Dalton Schultz. Cheswick, this is a team that, I mean, outside of reaching for Boyd, hasn't done too much in terms of making crazy plays. They go Irv Smith Jr. here. They're looking for that double stack, of course, with Joe Burrow. Now, should you be taking Burrow at ADP and reaching considerably on Boyd, reaching considerably on Irv Smith Jr.? I don't know about that. Probably rather just not take Burrow in that situation. But Cody coming out says 12-team ESPN redraft format. At pick 12, any advice? Say the main thing is just understanding your format and trying to project out what kind of values you're going to be getting in the middle rounds. If you think that your league is one that you're going to be able to scoop up wide receiver values like Calvin Ridley right now is going in round 5, round 6 of ESPN formats, then hell, I probably look to grab an elite tight end if Kelsey makes it to you, or maybe just go back-to-back running back if you can go ahead and take someone, say, like Bijan Robinson and Saquon Barkley. Maybe you mix in one wide receiver, but in general, I don't want to go wide receiver out the gate. If you can only start up to 3 and you expect that you're going to be able to slam middle round wide receiver values in that kind of format. Now, we are just wide receiver tight end from here on out, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, 6 picks away. Miller goes off the board 148. Great for us. Komet goes 149. That's the Ryan who had DeAndre. I'm sorry, not just DeAndre. So Justin Fields, more importantly. Schultz. Okay, so all the tight ends are now gone, right? I thought that we were going to get some good value on tight end. Now slowly going out the window here. I guess we'll go ahead. We'll take Gerald Everett. And we'll just get another piece of a very good offense, right? And we're still going to draft 3 tight ends almost no matter what. Maybe make the argument that we should go wide receiver here on the turn when we only have Adams, Judy, Godwin, Burks. But I mean, at the end of the day, we are going to take 8 wide receivers in this format. Specifically with this build. Obviously not in every draft, but. So hopefully we get one of Alec Pierce or DJ Chark making it back around to us. I assume that we will. Yeah, what's the value here right now? I guess it's kind of just pick your poison, right? You can pretty much go anywhere. They decided to go Kenny Pickett, so hell yes, we actually are going to get one of these wide receivers. DJ Chark goes, so we're going to get Alec Pierce here as our wide receiver 5. Just looking for someone that can give us some random spike weeks, right? That's pretty much all we want at this point. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to go walk the dog before it is too dark. So let me answer this question. Brian says 10-team Dynasty Superflex. We have the 102. Which quarterback do you prefer, Anthony Richardson? Yeah, definitely if it's going to be a 10-team league as well, because there we're going to be chasing more so ceiling rather than a floor. But thank you again, my friend. And yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out with us today on the live stream. Really do appreciate y'all. Y'all know I'm going to continue to live stream every single day until 2024. Not going to miss a single day. We've almost gone 100 days in a row at this point. And if you want to get in one of these drafts, which we're going to be doing every single day, these are best ball drafts on Underdog. No time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams to win $150,000 last season. And if you want to get on Underdog to draft with us, you can find the link in the live chat description comment section. Use promo code FLOCK, and they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, we'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And also check out all these player props. These are my favorite player props right now, being Jamar Chase plus 25 receiving yards versus Devontae Adams, Nick Chubb plus half a rushing touchdown versus Josh Jacobs, Lawrence. You can see them all here. I like these lines. But yeah, I think that's all I have. Really do appreciate y'all. Really hope that you have a great day, and really hope that I get to see you out with a live stream tomorrow night.